Alright, let's go to our Inventables page and we'll do a sign in. Log into Easel. Our email. Alright, let's first thing we want to do is update the name of the last one, which I forgot to do again. This is called Easel, Lesson 3. Alright, then we'll go back to open a new project. And it'll give us a blank sheet to work with. Alright. Now, we're going to look at some new items, new ways of getting images in to our system here, into Easel. So we're going to do an import. The first one we're going to try is SVG. Now, if you go out onto the web and search around, you will find literally thousands and thousands of images, SVG images. I downloaded this one from something called preserve.org. Anyway, I opened it, and this one, as I said, was free. Bring it up a little bit. It designed, as you can see, free SVG by org, and I'll get rid of that part of it. But anyway, we have the old bumblebee here, and we'll bring him down the middle somewhere. And as you can see, he defaults to cutting the entire thing. So we're going to move it back up a bit to here. We're going to, instead of cutting or clearing out a pocket, we're going to cut on the shape. You can see you get a much nicer image there when we do that. So that's one way of bringing things in. Now this particular one, when you click on it, the whole image gets pulled up. And we've seen that in the past where that can vary a little bit between images, where sometimes you clip just the top and all you get is the two antennae on the top rather than the whole image. Anyway, they're all a little different. You'll have to actually take a look and see what you have before you move on. But this is kind of a nice one, and thought I'd take a look at it. So let's get rid of that. Edit, remove. Let's go back to our import. And the next one, I'm going to skip over G-code for a minute. And we'll do a DXF import. DXF is another file format. And this is a file format that a lot of 2D CAD programs use. And many of the 2D CAD programs can also export their output in SVG format, but quite often the default format is DXF. So in this case, I'm going to import a DXF file. So I'm going to upload a file. Click here. And I have quite a few of them here, but here's one I made up just for this purpose called DXF test. And I'll open that up. It'll process it, and then we can upload it to the system. There it is there. Just a bunch of different objects. We'll do an import, and now you can see it's down here. So I'll bring it up. In this particular case, I know that I can separate these. So now I have 4 distinct objects when I separated them. And again, all of them, as you can see, are cutting all the way through. I can change that globally by highlighting all of them and bringing it back up a little bit. And when I do that, now they're not cutting all the way through. I believe they're all cutting on the line. Okay. Yes, they're cutting on the shape path. So that's DXF import. Again, the nice thing about DXF is when you bring it in, an object like this, it does have dimension. You actually have defined in your 2D CAD program the length of each of these line segments here that form that triangle. So it's a known quantity. Unlike our drawing here, if we do that same image here in using our line tool, we tried to do that. Get it right here. There it is. So I'll try and replicate that. Move it over a little bit. Move it over a little bit. Okay. Okay. Now I have another one similar to that, but this I don't know the dimensions. We kind of guessed at them. This one we actually know the exact dimensions. So that's a benefit of importing a DXF file. I'll hit the delete key and get rid of what I just did there. Alright. Now the next import is a trace. Now this is kind of neat, so I'll get rid of everything here. Delete key again. And we're going to bring in a picture this time. So I'm going to upload a picture. And I saved one in that same file location. So, and this is one that you're very familiar with. It's the logo for our club. And if you remember, Kent Peterson made the very large graphic out front that's above the counter as you walk in. And he used a similar process to set that up. So here's the image. I'm going to import it now. And here we are. Then here. Now, as you can see, it kind of doing something weird over here. But that's because it's trying to clear out a pocket. If we cut on the shape and make our cut size down a bit, you'll see we actually have a reasonable image here. A little messy down the bottom, and I think that's because our bit is still too big for this particular one. Let me go to a 16th inch bit. We'll see what we have. Yeah, it's quite a bit better with a 16th inch bit. So these are the kind of things that, again, you have to deal with when you bring something in. We'll make this a little bigger. I'm sure it'll be a little clearer over here. Yes, it is. Quite a bit clearer here, isn't it? Anyway, but here's one where if I only click on part of it, I'm only going to get part of it. If I move that now, we won't even move part of it. Hit Control Z to fix it. Go back to where we were. So that this one comes in with all separate pieces. Yeah. All right, now the last one we're going to talk about here on the import is the, I'll hit the delete key and get rid of this. The last one we're going to talk about is the G code. Now this is typically when you bring in G code, it's the output of a 3D CAD program such as Fusion 360, which is where I developed this particular one. Anyway, if I choose the file here, you'll see that I have done a few things. I'm going to bring the wasteboard in, which was created on Fusion. And once you bring that in, you'll see that's quite a bit different. We've lost our graph paper on the left because we didn't use the graph paper to generate this, so there is no graph paper. But you can see that the tool paths are still here though. And that on this one, center of the tool path is in the center of the object. Now, you would have to know beforehand from the program you exported from, in my case Fusion, or what size board you needed here, because this doesn't know. All right, so we're just using Easel as to process the G code in this particular case. If I go back to 0 and run this, I'll speed it up a bit. You'll find that it starts from the center and goes to each individual slot and creates it. And at the end, you'll see the red line. It goes back to the center. All right, so while we have that in mind, we'll talk about that a little bit. Let me close this out. In order to close this out, I have to actually open a new project. because the wasteboard kind of, you can't get rid of it once you start it. So that's just one of the difficulties working with directly with the G code. But anyway, and get rid of it. Here we are. All right, we're back to our a new sheet, and we can work from this. All right, let's talk about what happened in the last one. We created a file, and I'll create a new one here. We'll create a box, and I'm going to make him bigger. I don't really care what size he is. I'm just going to bring it up, okay? I'm going to put him in the center of the center in this material here. So all the sides are the same in this one. But if you'll note, when we move over to this side, we're going to do something you probably haven't seen before or may not have thought about. But we're going to simulate the cut path. See this right here? And what that does is it looks at what you want to get done here, and it simulates what the router is going to do. Let me bring it all the way back to 0, and I'm going to increase the speed a little bit, and we're going to play this forward. First thing you see is the line going to the middle, and this is actually running around in a circle and clearing out all that material in the middle there. As you can see, it's going to take quite a while. Down here it's 38 minutes to do the whole project. So just one way of doing it, and it's kind of interesting to watch it go to work there. When it's done, it'll return to the bottom left-hand corner of the piece of wood, which is our starting point. All right. I'm going to finish this all the way up. So there we go. Now you move back to the starting point. That's the same point that is down here. That's one way of approaching this. I'm going to change it. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to set this to the corner. And I'm going to change X and Y to 0. So now what I've done is I've moved, hang on, let me move my board up a little bit. If you'll notice, my graph is now off the graph paper. So what we're looking at here is actually 1/4 of the board is showing here. But in reality, on the machine itself, we will position this board so that we could cut this starting from the middle. So let's go to simulate. All right. And if you notice this time, let me go back, I'll get it started. And you'll notice that it is starting right here from the midpoint. It's actually doing the cut just as we did in the last instance, but it started from the middle point. This is very useful when you have an uneven shaped board. Perhaps you didn't square it up. It might be a piece of bark that you're, or a live edge material that you want to put something in, and you don't really have a corner. So there's a lot of reasons why you would want to center this this image. So let's get something a little different up here. I'll clean this out. All right, I'm going to go back and take this, and I'm going to make it a little different. I'm not going to pocket clear on the shape. It's a little easier to see it that way sometimes. Now when I simulate from the middle, you'll see the shape there. Hang on, let me go up. There we go. So when I bring it back and I start it up, and it's starting to go there, you can see it going around and around. I'm cutting out the shape. I'll speed it up a little bit. You can't see the repeat ones are happening right on top of the last one, so you really can't see that. But at the end, it's going to finish in time. Now, a couple other things that happen here. Since your board in reality is overlapping this, it's not where it's showing here. It's around this figure here. When you start in the middle, it gives you a lot more room for clamping around the edges. And that's another reason why you would use a center starting model. All right. So just another way of handling that. All right. So that's about it for now on this. We can talk in the next segment about the Pro version and what the differences are. But for now, everything we've done has been done in the standard version, the free version of Easel. So you can see you can do quite a bit without having to pay for the Pro version. So those of you out there who are sticking with the standard version, feel free to try all these different things that we did here, and just play around. Don't be afraid to try things. You can see the results here. You don't have to have the machine running for the most part. So you can get pretty creative over here, and if you get in trouble, you'll be able to see it when you do the actual simulate. All right, well, good luck with that. We'll get back to you with the Pro version in a little bit.